of 10 cats, the talented Mrs. Ripley, Ripley. She's sunny and funny, Josie Long. And their team captain, Sean Locke. And facing them tonight, he's out of the den, Peter Jones. Who's a funny boy then? Jack Whitehall. And their team captain, Jason Manford. Now, welcome your host, Jimmy Carr.
Hello and welcome to 8 out of 10 Cats, a show about opinion polls, surveys and statistics. Did you know, for example, people in Sheffield have the most fillings and missing teeth in Britain? Finally, something to go on that Welcome to Sheffield poster. 34% of the under-30s don't know how to wire a plug. It's easy. Dad, how'd you wire a plug? 7% of men say they've taken credit for work they didn't do. And that's according to a poll I conducted myself earlier today. And 60% of teenagers say they only go to church for weddings and christenings and claim they don't know nothing about no lead on no roof. Right, let's get started. What are you talking about? That's the name of our first round. We've teamed up with a leading polling organisation and they've asked the British nation what stories they've been discussing this week. It's our panellists' job to guess the British public's top 5 most popular talking points. Sean's team first. What do you think the nation have been talking about?
People still moaning about the snow.
Well, some people are slightly more moany than others.
Brilliantly on the news, another bloke was being interviewed on the news the other day and he was saying, he said, my bins haven't been emptied for a month. And the way he said it was like a euphemism. Nobody's come round to empty my bin. They haven't even given them a lick. I wouldn't mind if someone just came round and just jiggled my bins.
So, have your bins been emptied recently?
They were. There was a lack of bin men, and I had left out a big load of beer for them for Christmas, which was still there until earlier this morning.
So they have sex with you for beer?
Why did the sex bit come into it?
Oh, I was thinking of my euphemism.
Yeah, I think you were sticking
It was just in our heads.
Oh.
Yeah.
But in our heads, it was going brilliantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm now cleared out. As it were.
Have you been affected by the snow, Josie?
I tell you what I saw. I was walking along the road just after it snowed and everyone was moaning about lack of grit. I saw someone had taken it into their own hands and what they'd done was they put loads of flour on the drive and then when they run out of flour, they put loads of oats and then they put loads of sugar. And I was really expecting to see, just next to that, a baker frozen to death. Just...
I've got my own salt. I use these little sachets of salt. What I do is I sprinkle a bit like that. Right, then I get another one out.
I get really pissed off. I get really pissed off by the whole, like, panic buying stuff that everyone talks about, like, panic buying, because there's a food shortage, people go out and they panic buy bread, eggs and milk. Like, to me, that doesn't seem like panic buying in a food shortage. That's quite intelligent buying. Panic buying would be if you went out to the shops during a food shortage and came back with, like, a copy of 40 Towers and a dildo. I panicked!
Is there a business opportunity here, Peter?
I don't... What, with dildos?
No. Although...
Do you know what I see, though? I don't know whether everybody else thinks the same, but this weather, you've got some nutters on the road.
I did see the 2 guys that drove on the canal this week. You see
Yeah,
that?
great, wasn't it?
You know, the best thing about the story, so it was guys, they got their car, whatever it was, a little tiny Citroen, they drove it along a canal and it went into the water and it reported that they both made it out alive and so did the dog. They took a dog.
Maybe the dog was driving. That's why they're on the canal. You know, sometimes you go to your dog, go on, you have a go. Sellotape his paws to the wheel. I'll do the gears, don't worry about the pedals. That's what happened.
Let's have a look and see whether the cold weather is still one of the most talked about things. Yes, of course it is. Yes, this is the news that the UK is still in the midst of the coldest winter for 30 years. A headmaster in Hampshire claims some pupils are struggling to make it into school because of the bad weather. He said of the 320 sitting maths A-level, 280 were in the exam hall when the exam started. Another 30 turned up 20 minutes later. 4 people went to the toilet, but only 3 returned. Then 42 left the building. How many were there at the end of the exam? Many people in the north have been bulk buying food because they're fat, greedy bastards.
What's that about? Well, just because people are buying milk and bread, we like milky bread. What's that?
Milky bread, yeah, bulk buying in Greggs.
We love it. Greggs is still open. They don't care if it's snowing. It's great. You can just slide straight in and put a pasty straight in your mouth.
Jason, what else have the nation been talking about this week?
The election battle heats up, apparently, because there's no other news. They've gone, there's an election in 6 months, and that's one of the stuff. So even, like, the Lib Dems have had to come up with proper policies, you know, because when you've got no chance of winning, you can basically say what you want, can't you? So for ages, they've been going, yeah, Jaffa Cakes will be one of your 5 a day, and everyone can have a rope slide to work. You know what I mean?
Who's your money on in the election, Faye?
I'm very much enjoying the idea that the Labour Party are giving voters presents if they vote for them. They've said that they'll give poor people laptops, which is very nice. Is he going to give them Wii's as well, maybe? Some chocolate?
Give everyone a little bit of chocolate.
I'll just give you a little bit of chocolate if you vote for me.
He might empty their bins.
Gordon Brown got a laugh in Parliament this week. He got a laugh. This is the easiest gig you've ever seen, right? He basically said that Hoon and Hewitt, he was going to put them down a salt mine. Yeah, I know. That was the gag, right? He says he's going to put them down a salt mine for what they've done in last week, and it got a laugh. I was like, they're laughing at that shit. They should watch an episode of You've Been Framed. They'll have an heart attack.
Let's have a look and see whether the election is one of the most talked about things this week. Yes, the nation's been talking about the imminent election. This week, Brown told backbenchers, I'm not our team, I'm one of the team. And remember, Gordon, there's no I in team. Or in your left socket. Sean, Josie and Faye, what else have the nation been talking about?
What have they been talking about, girls?
Don't
Don't know what I put that voice on now.
Celebrity Big Brothers.
Really? Did you watch that?
No, I don't have time. I do not have time in my life for CBB. The CBBC, yes. CBB, no time. No time.
There was a really sinister bit with Base Hunter the other night where he was sat there and there's been obviously a thing between him and Katia, and she went, oh, wouldn't it be really funny if we still were, like, lying together in the same bed and then we got tucked in by Stephanie, and he went, and nobody does this in real life, he said, yes, that would be funny. And then she walked out, and then to himself just went, very funny. like a bad guy in a Bond film.
I love the fact that Katia's gone from Ronnie Wood to Bass Hunter as well. It's like such a musical downgrade.
She's seen Ronnie Wood naked. That can't be nice. I imagine it's like him naked. It's like, you know, like if you have a box of KFC after you've thrown the bones back in.
That's probably what it looks like. It's a bit of flesh on it, and some knuckles.
Let's have a look and see whether Big Brother is one of the most talked about things this week. Yes, Celebrity Big Brother continues. This week, Katia, Heidi and Lady Sovereign were all up for eviction. And it was difficult to know who to choose, but I think I'd have to say kill Heidi, shag Katia and marry Lady Sovereign. Jason, Jack and Peter, what else have the nation been talking about?
Is it Iris Robinson? The lady...
Mrs.
Robinson, who had the affair with the 19-year-old boy. And then they revealed in the newspapers that she gave him 50 grand and he spent it on a cafe.
Apparently she arranged for him to have the money. She didn't give him the money.
It's like, he's 19 years old. What a weirdo. When I was 19, if I was given 50 grand, I would amass an armada of pornography and then wank myself into a coma.
She wanted to have sex with him or something, and he said, I can't. I've got testicular cancer.
I like the idea that he might have gone, oh, we can't see each other anymore, I've got cancer. And she went, no, it's fine. He went, of the balls? I can't do it anymore.
But that is... I mean, we've all been there, haven't we, when we're breaking up with someone and you pretend that you've got a disease that's going to kill you, don't you? And then it's embarrassing, isn't it? 6 months later when you bump into them and they're like, I thought you dying and that. Well, no, it's just cold. Just a cold.
I think it's just sex, though. I mean, she's 60, he's 19. They've got a lot in common. Like, they're both growing their first moustache.
But it is a bit sexist, the whole thing with this Miss Robinson thing, because if it was a guy that had done it, you wouldn't even be able to get a statement out of him, because he'd be too busy getting a high five off everyone he'd ever met.
I'd just like to apologise to... Sorry. Let's have a look and see whether Peter Robinson is one of the most talked about things this week. Yes, Peter Robinson, Northern Ireland's First Minister, has announced that he'll be stepping down for 6 weeks to look after family matters. I feel sorry for him. Not only has he got these family matters to attend to, but his wife has been caught giving £50,000 to a teenager she's been fucking. Never rains, but it pours, eh, Peter? One more thing to get fingers on buzzers. Oh, Sean.
Well, I thought stop and search. They've banned stop and search. Well, a couple won a case where so the police are no longer allowed to stop and search.
There was a couple I read that got paid £30,000 worth of compensation because they got wrongly stopped and searched. For 30 grand, I would let someone stop and search the inside of my arse.
Are you in?
Oh, no.
Peter, what you should have said is I'll put in 10%. See if I like it, and then I'll make a commitment.
I was pulled over by the police once for speeding. I got out very nervous and my trousers fell down. I was standing in my pants and my button had gone at the same moment that I burst out of the car.
I bet you didn't get a ticket, did you?
I got 3 points on my licence. I was wearing my big period pants. That might have had something to do with it.
Although, you know, I don't mind.
You don't mind a bigger pant?
I don't mind a larger pant. I'm fine with that.
I wish you'd stopped and searched.
I just might. Things seem to be going pretty well.
Did they search you as well? Did they search you as well?
No, there was no need. He could see everything.
I see.
I can tell you stop and search wasn't one of the most talked about things this week. Right, fingers on buzzers.
Google have come out and threatened to pull out of China. But I think it's all a publicity stunt, though.
Think?
Well, because there's 330 million people online in China. It's one of the biggest markets out there. They've got 30% market share at the moment. I'm a bit serious, aren't I? But it's true.
Google, it's not just Google, is it? Like, over there you can't even get YouTube. There's 1 billion Chinese people who have never seen that fat bloke pretending he's a Jedi. Can you imagine Google stopping? Just for a second. Imagine they went, well, and we're pulling out of Britain. Imagine that. It'd be like the beginning of the apocalypse. You couldn't even search for another search engine.
Oh. I'd rather lose a lung.
Be back to wandering around in the woods looking for porn under trees.
I know. The reason they got Larry in the first place, wasn't it? Because people had their, like, Gmails hacked into. Yeah. So I can completely sympathise with that, because I had my Gmail hacked into like, a couple of weeks ago, and it sent out an email to everyone I'd ever met, asking them whether they wanted to buy reasonably priced Ugg boots. And I get so annoyed, because everyone's like, oh, yeah, your email's been hacked into. Eventually, I got bored. I was just like, no, actually, it hasn't been hacked into. I just bought really good Ugg boots, and I wanted to pass on the good news.
I thought it was a good idea to start sending spam porn emails. Like, you're already on the internet. I don't need you to go, do you want some porn? I wasn't thinking about it, but now you've mentioned it, yes, I do.
You two look at a lot of porn, don't you?
Yeah.
You're not getting... There's much more to life. Young lads like you should be out on a windswept hill with a kite. Have you never played table tennis? It's a marvellous game. You should get out of the house, have a game of table tennis or something like that.
Let's have a look and see whether Google threatening to pull out of China is one of the most talked about things this week. Yes, this is the news that Google is thinking of withdrawing from China. In China, Google is a very modern way of finding out information. The previous method of finding things out was bamboo under fingernails. Where can I see a video of a cat on a skateboard? You gotta tell me. I can't do a Chinese voice, so I'm doing this one instead. So those were the most talked about stories this week. And in other news, good news for the fans of the collapse of civilization, the 5th series of Dancing on Ice has started on ITV. I'd just like to say to the competitors, break a leg. That would be good telly. And And former government spin doctor Alistair Campbell has appeared in front of the Iraq inquiry. Sadly, the inquiry failed to ask Alistair Campbell the key question we all wanted to know the answer to. How do you sleep at night, you fucking monster? At the end of that round, Sean, Faye and Josie have 2 points. Jason, Peter and Jack have 3 points. Join us after the break when we'll be finding out the greatest idea of all time. Welcome back to 8 out of 10 Cats. Our next round is Pick of the Polls. Jason, Peter and Jack, your turn first. What do you like the look of?
We'll pick the moody girl.
So you've chosen the picture of the angry-looking child.
Yes.
Here's a clip from the American version of Wife Swap to illustrate the question.
At the Hollands, Joy jumps into action and forces the family to junk the junk.
Definitely no cheese in the can. Very happy to be throwing this away.
It's bacon.
No, I want my bacon. I gotta tell you something. Bacon is good for me. That's not how she can do it in our family. She's act like she's the queen and we're the sorry people. Joy, I have been nice to you, but now I'm coming to the edge.
I promise you one thing, okay? If you do not have at least one food that you like, I will buy you a piece of junk. Is that a deal?
No, I keep losing at deals, and I don't want to make a deal anymore. I am leaving, and you can't stop me. I'm packing my bags. She's going to try to stop me, but she can't run in those little high heels. See this face again.
That's from the American version of Wife Swap. He looks very young to be married. Here is your question. 21% of parents have used a parenting tip from a TV programme. True or false?
Actually specific parenting show?
I reckon I have, from Nanny.
Well, there's a few. There was Nanny...
Super Nanny.
There was Super Nanny.
Sit on the step. You know
the naughty step.
The naughty step. I've used that.
So where's your naughty step?
I've got a couple of stairs in the house.
I would imagine you've got loads.
choice.
Yeah.
I've got 5 kids, so I can send them off in different staircases.
My two are, you know, are only 5 months, so they're not really naughty, are they? I mean,
They're twins.
They're twins,
So they're
yeah.
naughty. But do you really think that you could tell your 5-month-old off at this stage? Don't you think it's a bit early to start telling them to sit on the naughty step?
No, I mean, no, just put them on the naughty step. Just lie them like a rocker on the naughty step. One of them does cry more than the other one, right? And than our favourite one. And there's one crying. The other one sometimes does look at me like, she is doing my head right. I'm siding with her a little bit, going, I know, it's mad, isn't it?
I saw a programme the other day and it said you shouldn't lie. You should never lie to your children. Which is an insane thing to say because, you know, things like when they say, like, you know, are there monsters under my bed? Well, you'd say, no, there aren't monsters under my bed. And they say, are there monsters outside? You go, well, they are, but they don't look like monsters. They're ordinary men and women who can do terrible things.
Did you get to stay up late to watch the show this evening? Lovely Uncle Sean's got some stories, hasn't he? 21% of parents have used a parenting tip from a TV programme, true or false? So what are you going to go with, Jason?
I think it's probably right.
Yeah,
Are you going to go true? OK, Sean, what are you saying?
Well, I like a bit of fun, a bit of a gambler. They call me the gambler. Come on, ladies, let's roll.
What do we...
Yeah, we'll go the opposite, what they said.
OK.
For a bit of fun.
OK, I can tell you the answer is true.
Oh.
Yes, 21% of parents have used a tip from a TV programme. The best parenting tip I ever got was to test the temperature of the bath using a baby's elbow. OK, Sean's team, what do you like the look of?
The two fingers, the God, the creation of the universe.
OK, you've chosen God. In a poll to find the most famous person in the world, God came second. Who came top?
The most famous... It's got to be someone unexpected.
No, it has to be someone famous.
And in the world.
Unexpected would be someone not famous.
That'd be good, like Cliff.
Oh, Trevor Collins. Trevor Collins, who's he? Well, I think he works for Autoglass or something.
Be awkward at dinner if it's Jesus, wouldn't it? I bet he'd rub it in his face. I'm the most famous dad in your face.
Where's Jesus from again? Where was he born again?
He's local.
Would it be like David Beckham?
No, it's quite low down.
Might it be the Queen?
Might it be the Queen? It might have been the Queen.
Simon Cowell.
Is the right answer.
No.
Yes, I can tell you it's Simon Cowell. So in a poll to find the most famous person in the world, God lost out to Simon Cowell. Another small victory for the Dark Lord in the eternal battle between good and evil. So at the end of that round, it's 2 points for Sean's team and 5 points for Jason's team. And the winner is the name of our final round. Here is your first one. Most common social faux pas.
Is it saying goodbye to somebody and then walking in the same direction for a bit? I'll see you. I'll see you later, all right?
I know a real bad one from my point of view, because I'm lucky enough to fly in a jet. My little daughter, Isabella, she's 3. She's never flown on a commercial plane before, and we went to Barbados. And then walking on the plane, we're getting taken to our seats. And she turns around and says in the loudest possible voice, "Daddy, what are all these people doing on our plane?"
Did you just put some money in her mouth?
My daughter's never been on a commercial plane. Imagine people watching Channel 4 on a Friday night are thinking, oh, finally someone we can relate to. Most common social faux pas, come on.
Is it murder?
Is there anything you want to tell us?
Is it twanging your mother-in-law's bra strap?
No, that's all right.
Jean?
To do with manners?
Thank yous and not saying thank you.
Not saying thank you is the right answer. Yes, the most common social faux pas is not saying thank you. Of course, the term faux pas is French, as is not saying thank you. Greatest idea ever.
Don't tell him.
What was the band that you signed up?
Hamfatter.
Hamfatter. Can you get me tickets to see them at Wembley?
They're a great band.
Where are they,
I
though?
couldn't get anybody to play their music.
The other thing, you invested in a wheelie bin lid lifter. Ooh. Did you invest in that to make it easier to throw away the other things you'd invested in?
I invested in Levi Roots. Who must have heard of reggae sauce?
Big time, yeah. I walk past it all the time.
He's the most...
Oh, yeah, Muscat. No, I'll go with something I trust and know. That's what
I've got a sauce.
That sounds horrible.
I've got a sauce. It's called Sean's Secret Sauce. Coming out. It's a very secret recipe. I make it at midnight when I'm drunk. I switch the lights off in the kitchen. I just make it like that. Some weeks it's delicious. Some weeks it's poisonous. So I'm going to make loads. I'm going to make millions. Because if you talk to Levi Roots, a fellow saucier...
Well, he sung for his sauce. Do you remember that? He put some music in my food today. Give me some reggae sauce.
Yeah.
Nice. What's your song?
My song. Sean Sauce.
OK, greatest ever idea.
I reckon it's Sainsbury's self-service checkout, or the buy one, get 5 for free system. I haven't bought anything for, like, months. Like, 10 bags and then a receipt for a packet of Frubes. It's brilliant.
If you do it wrong, it starts to shout at you, and it tells everybody in the shop.
But it's funny.
Something's on the scales, that's wrong! You're like, oh, that's a weekly shop!
Greatest ever idea, saying something back to someone that they've just said in a bit of a mocking voice.
Like what?
That.
I think it might be the wheel.
The wheel is the right answer.
Yes.
The uptake of the wheel utterly transformed Mesopotamia in the 4th millennium BC and Ireland in the 1950s. Well, that sound tells me it's the end of the round and the end of the show, which means the final scores are Sean, Faye and Josie have 3 points, Jason, Peter and Jack have 6 points. They're the winners. Thanks to all our panellists, our wonderful studio audience and to all of you for watching at home. That's it from us. Good night.